So, ever since I bought this car, I've been asked a lot of questions as to why I bought the Ralliart rather than getting another Subaru. And I can joke around about it and I can play it off in many different ways, but I think I'm going to point out a couple of reasons why I bought this car on a more personal level. For one, there's a little bit of history between myself and the Ralliart Lancer. And mainly what that history is back in late 2008, headed into 2009, so I want to say it was like November of 2008. I was in the market to buy a newer vehicle, and I was looking. I had a Mitsubishi Eclipse at the time, a 2001 Mitsubishi Eclipse GT V6 5-speed, really nice car, and I just wanted to get something that was four doors, something newer, something that was more adult, I guess you could say. And I went over to Mitsubishi because I had owned nothing but Mitsubishis up until then, and I saw that they came out with the Ralliart in this body style, which had the all-wheel drive system, turbocharged, and the twin clutch transmission in it. So it was kind of like a baby Evo because I couldn't afford an Evo. Even a used Evo 8 at the time with like 100,000 miles on it was still going for over 20 grand, and I just really didn't want to spend that much money. But I went and took a look at this car, and I loved it. I fell in love with the car. I really did. The car was fantastic. It drove great. It was quick. It was fun, spacious, four doors. It drove really nice, and it was just a really great car. And the problem was they wanted 30 grand for the one that I test drove. And even with my trade-in, owner loyalty bonus and everything, I still couldn't get it for under 20. And my payments were going to be like well over $500 a month. And I thought that was just ridiculous. So me being at the age of about 20, 21 years old, I just didn't find it feasible for me to buy a vehicle like that. So I decided to find something used, and when I started searching Auto Trader, Craigslist, whatnot, back at the time, is when I ran across my Subaru. And that's the history of how I got the Subaru, basically. I wanted something that was comparable to this, but you could pick up used. So something that was all-wheel drive and turbocharged, and it didn't matter if it was a manual or an automatic transmission. That didn't really bother me that much, but as long as it was turbocharged, all-wheel drive, and four doors. And seeing as there really wasn't much out there on the market other than Subaru and Mitsubishi, the Mazda Speeds were front-wheel drive, the SRT4s are front-wheel drive. Everything else was kind of bland and boring, and I'm talking about like the Corolla XRS and then Nissan Sentra SER. Those were kind of bland and boring. So I ended up getting the Subaru and fell in love with Subarus ever since then, and I still love Subarus even today. The culture and everything that's behind Subaru is something that I just kind of fell in love with. So that's kind of what kept me in the Subaru game. And when I wrecked my car is when I really wanted to get another Subaru. But they do hold their value really good, and that says something to the ownership of Subaru vehicles, is the passion that's behind them really helps drive the cost of those vehicles. But seeing as I didn't want to make car payments again, I wanted to buy something that was new, or not new, but used, and that would be probably something that could be paid off. And I found this for the amount of my insurance money, and I couldn't find a WRX or a Subaru anywhere near what I paid for this car. And so that's kind of the history behind it, and there is no disrespect to the Subaru community. I love Subarus. I'm still very involved within the Subaru community. It's just, this was something, A, it was a little different, B, for the money I couldn't pass this car up, and then C, it's kind of going back to what got me into the car culture anyways, you know, having multiple Eclipses and DSMs over the years made me really miss the Mitsubishi community. Although I do have to say the communities between Subaru and Mitsubishi are vastly different between the two. But Subarus have become so popular. When I first got into the Subaru community, the Subarus were kind of like a rarity. There's like a brotherhood around them because there really wasn't a whole lot of people that owned them at the time. So Subarus were still kind of a tight-knit community, and as the popularity of WRXs and STIs grew and grew and grew, and now the sales numbers of Subaru have grown and grown and grown, you now have where WRXs and STIs are, you know, you got hipster kids and people like that are buying Subarus and doing them up, and you know, there's various meme videos and whatnot of, you know, kids vaping in Subarus and whatnot. And I also noticed when I drive my wife's car that the kind of the brotherhood of Subaru is kind of gone. If you see a WRX going down the road and you try to wave at it, sometimes they wave back and sometimes they don't. You know, sometimes they don't recognize the older Subarus, or they just don't. They're not involved in the community. They own a WRX, but they don't. It's almost like you have to become a part of the culture with a Subaru, where one of these, I'm not going to lie, the Ralliarts are probably one of the most disrespected cars in the Mitsubishi community, it seems like. Kind of a redheaded stepchild, from what I've learned. But I like it. It's a nice car. It runs and drives great. It's a good drive. I'm happy that I got it. I miss the Subaru community, but it's a very nice car. And I really can't complain about this too much. So why I got this car was mainly because it brought me back to when I first got into the car culture. And it brought me, you know, some joy to not having to make car payments anymore, and it is something different for me to do. You know, I've done so many Subarus, I've helped build so many Subarus that this is just something different for me, and I thank God that my wife still has her WRX, or that we still have her WRX, so I can stay involved in the community. But mainly the reason why I got this car was, you know, A, cost effective, B, hit all the marks that I really wanted, with the exception of the hatchback, and I just couldn't find a Ralliart hatchback because they're just rare. You know, they only made them for like 2 years in very limited production. So there was no hatchback. That's the only mark that I wish I could have had, was the hatchback. But it has nice back seat space, it's comfortable, it runs and drives good, the motor's strong, all-wheel drive, ABS brakes, and my wife can drive it because it's an automatic with the twin-clutch transmission. So overall, I mean, it's a good car. I just, you know, is it a car that I'm in love with? I don't know. I think it's going to have to grow on me. The Subaru grew on me. I wasn't in love with the Subaru when I first got it, but it grew on me. So hopefully this car will grow on me the same way the Subaru did. I want to just kind of turn this into something a little different, something that kind of fits me a little bit better. But mainly the reason why I got the car was there's a history between me and the Ralliart, and just felt like it was the opportunity for me to just basically say, well, I loved it back then. Why not get it now? And finding it used saves me a ton of money, and I don't make payments on it, and it's a really nice car, and it's pretty much all I have to say about it. So thank you for watching the video as to why I bought the Ralliart. The history between me and the Ralliart goes back quite a ways, and it's kind of just now it's the opportunity to own the car and live how I thought the car was going to be. So thank you for watching. Hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you like it, if you like the video, I know it's not a really in-depth video, but it is kind of an explanation because I've been asked a lot as to why I bought this car at various car meets and gatherings and whatnot. So if you like the video, again, like, subscribe, share it if you want, and thank you for watching and supporting my page. Thank you.